tonight's show. This is huge. Like, this is insane what I'm about to tell you. The House Foreign Affairs Committee chair has just announced that he is going after Biden and Harris. This is like, they had the whole press thing today, that he said that they're going to call them before Congress if they do not show up, because they haven't. They've been dodging Congress. He said, we're done with them. We are done with Biden and Harris when it comes to the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. He said if they don't show up at their appointed hearings, we will hold them in contempt. And if they don't follow our direction, then they could face jail time. Like, seriously, jail time for Biden and Harris over the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. They finally finished their investigation, and it doesn't look good for the Biden-Harris administration. This is bombshell news. It is huge. Right before the election. Wow. The DOJ has finally done something about the illegals who've been voting and in the American elections, and they have finally charged them with voting fraud. And we have that huge number for you right now. You know, hope you're sitting down. One person. The DOJ is charging one person with voting fraud who's an illegal immigrant. It's dumb and ridiculous. And we do have updates on the conservatives that were charged for the alleged Russia collusion and disinformation scheme, which, again, it's crazy. We're even talking about Russia again, but so much is going on. We've got the top news for you, and just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, and if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. We really appreciate it. And also, too, just want to say thank you to everybody that is a new member of the True Life News community. Remember, the links are in the description. You go to the link under join here. It's only 99 cents per month. What we want to do with this money is take this money and go make positive change in this world with this community. That means you can be a part of it. And if we all band together, our goal is 10,000 members. We want to do some really good things in this world, and we would appreciate your support. And just want to say thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. It is a blessing to me and my family. We are so grateful and thankful for you. But let's jump right into this because it's getting crazy. Check it out.
GOP through the Chairman McCall is speaking right now on this scathing report just out on the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal. Let's dip in here and listen.
Afghans killed, 45 Americans and Afghan civilians wounded. And the sad thing is, it could have been prevented if we just had a plan. It could have been stopped. Nothing will take back their children's lives. Yes, they will be receiving a gold medal, congressional gold medal tomorrow, well deserved, on behalf of their children and loved ones, posthumously. But nothing can bring them back. It was one of the deadliest attacks in 20 years because there wasn't a plan. Lastly, what is the fallout? Saigon? No, this is worse. What happens after Afghanistan falls? Weakness is projected around the globe. Our enemies and adversaries see weakness, not strength. The Russian Federation, within months, moves into Ukraine because they see this is their moment. Then the unholy alliance with Chairman Xi, China, threatening Taiwan and the Pacific together. Then, in the Middle East, the Ayatollah raises his ugly head with his proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi rebels, all as a result of Afghanistan. It all goes back to Afghanistan. Finally, where a failed foreign policy meets a broken border policy at our borders. 8 ISIS enter the country, now under detention by the FBI. I was a federal prosecutor counterterrorism. There's also a ISIS ring of 400 people being smuggled into the United States. So it comes full circle back to the United States. I went in with it.
This is huge. Look at the title at the bottom. Biden admin misled public on Afghan exit. You're about to hear him say everything I just told you earlier. We're going to go after them. Check this out.
This is not political. It took me 2 years. The first year was wasted by the Democrats. They didn't do one thing. I started this. I had to submit subpoena after subpoena, motions of contempt to bring the channel descent cable channel of the employees at the embassy a cry for help so we could get their testimonies. Secretary Blinken, to this day, refuses to take 1 day out of this month to come before the American people and these families. But he doesn't have time. Just like Joe Biden didn't have time on his watch at Dover. I don't have time for this. This is a disgrace. And I will hold him in contempt if that's what it takes.
Right there.
To bring him before the American people, because they deserve the answers. All roads in this investigation lead to the National Security Council. Very clear from all the testimony that Mr. Sullivan, Jake Sullivan, who's the chairman of the National Security Council, was in charge of these decisions being made. That takes our investigation right into the NSC and right into the White House itself.
Woo.
I intend to continue this investigation after the election, not in a partisan way, but because the American people deserve the truth so that this never, ever
happens again. I'm telling you, if you didn't catch that, he said, I'm going to hold them in contempt. He just basically told Joe Biden, the Biden administration, him and Kamala Harris, and that other person, I forgot their name, that if you don't follow this, I'm going to hold you in contempt. And remember, if you're held in contempt and you don't follow direction, you will go to jail. That is the next step. This is huge. This is accountability. Remember, nobody, I repeat, nobody got fired after that botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. Biden didn't fire anybody. Kamala Harris didn't fire anybody. And it was a complete disgrace to the American people. This is something that we can't hide from. This is something that and just like he said, Russia started invading Ukraine. You had China who started looking at Taiwan. You have Hamas who attacked Israel all months after all this happened. Why? Because they saw the weakness in the United States of America that we hadn't exhibited even whenever we had Trump. They were afraid of Trump. They can't hide this anymore. I hope they hold him in contempt. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And I hope that Biden is held in contempt and Harris is held in contempt because they were both the last people in the room to make the decision to leave Afghanistan the way that we did, and they didn't have to do that. They could have had a plan. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section because right now, everybody is fed up with Kamala Harris right now. You're about to hear CNBC. Listen to what you like. This is insane. I would never have fathomed. I would have lost so much money in bets if you would have said CNBC is about to say this, what you're about to hear. Check it out.
I think she's been crystal clear on her values, what she wants to fight for, and how she will do it. And also, she talks to people. Right? She's reaching out to me. She's reaching out to businesses.
She hasn't talked to the press, Gina. I mean, I know you're a surrogate, but the American people are frustrated. The media is frustrated at the amount of access anyone's gotten to her for the past 41 days. I know you've seen that. We're finally going to have a debate tomorrow night, but she sat down for one interview that was taped and then cut down, and certain little things came out from it. But it has been a master class in avoiding any questions, and nothing's been made clear, by her. Maybe it's been made clear in dribs and drabs from her policymakers when it comes out in print or on off a teleprompter at one of her scripted speeches. She's been impossible to pin down on anything because she hasn't given any access. The American people deserve it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and
Right there. Can you believe CNBC now going after Kamala Harris? This is unprecedented. Like, I feel like everybody's kind of just fed up with the Democratic Party. They're fed up with how they've been carrying out things. And they're fed up with all this whole gaslighting to the American people. And now this is where Donald Trump needs to take the momentum and run with it. Check this out.
Well, it had to come to an end. The summer of joy is over, and Kamala Harris's momentum seems to be coming to a screeching halt. Donald Trump is now beating Vice President Harris by 1 point in a New York Times head-to-head matchup. The Gray Lady suggesting that Harris's support has stalled after a euphoric August. The big problem for the vice president, an overwhelming majority of voters think the country is headed in the wrong direction, and this is considered a change election. 55% think Harris represents more of the same, while 61% see Donald Trump as representing change. CNN's election guru sounding some alarm.
Look at polls that have come out over the last week or so, and what do we see? We see a much tighter race. We see a tie in the CBS YouGov poll. We see a tie in the CNN SSRS poll. And this, to me, is part of an emerging pattern, which is in a very pivotal state. What we saw was a small Harris lead, but within the margin of error, becoming a race that is way, way, way too close to call at this particular point, one that is even.
It seems that Kamala Harris might be back to being the incumbent after being apparently like brand new.
You know, I'd like to make a point.
Hey, thank you so much, Linda at Jump, for the super chat. Thank you so much for blessing us. And also thank you for Deborah joining the True Life News team. Everybody, show some love to Linda and Deborah in the chat. Thank you so much.
You know, do you know that Kat's book comes out? It's about being binary and non-binary and all that stuff. I think the media is tricking the public into a binary choice. If you don't like Trump, your only choice is Harris. And you have these odious never-Trump Republicans echoing this, and they're selling out all their core values, whether it's capitalism, taxes, immigration, or crime, saying if you don't like Trump because it's a big meanie, you have no choice but to vote for a profoundly radical leftist. Well, in 2016, I did not vote for Trump. I didn't like him as a candidate, but that didn't mean I voted for Hillary. I just didn't vote. Actually, I think I wrote in Ruth Buzzy. But I didn't, but the thing is, they're trying to trick you into thinking that not voting is somehow not a vote. It actually is a vote. You are not required to vote for the other side because you don't like your guy. Right now, you have people in Kamala's camp imploring people voting for her to convince others, to explain their choice, to make the case, because Kamala can't make the case herself. She's like a criminal suspect who sends her family out to speak on her behalf because she's behind bars, except she's not behind bars. No one's holding her back. You don't need word of mouth if you have a working mouth, right? You have Mark Cuban, who's a good guy, talking about how he speaks to her daily and often and claims that he understands her and what she stands for. Well, that's nice that you have that knowledge with her. Is this campaign strategy going to be one big game of telephone where you talk to her and then you go on MSNBC or CNBC? No, maybe talk less to Cuban and talk to us.
To the American
people. Cut out the translator, cut out the middleman. Don't think it's going to happen.
There's rumors that her campaign is in some disarray, some meltdown going on.
This is huge.
Well, I'm like an open nerve ending, Dana, and I was feeling this deterioration for about a week and a half while Jessica was poo-pooing, heavy poo-pooing. Which I don't even want to say how much poo-pooing there was, but it was significant.
Let it go.
So the New York Times comes out, it's tied, and I predict she'll call this an outlier, and so I will say preemptively that the Pew poll and Harris-Harvard poll also has a tie race. Therefore, a tie race means a Trump landslide. Right now, the New York Times, according to the latest poll, Jessica, gives Donald Trump a 99% chance of winning this election. Nate Silver now, who it's been like 2 weeks every day, the probability of Trump winning this election increases, now gives Donald Trump a 64% chance. of winning this election. Great stuff from these polls. Great stuff.
And this is the thing too, because I want to make sure that you see this stuff for your very own eyes. This is the Nate Silver polling that he just talked about. Look at this, 64% compared to 35% for Harris. It's like the Democratic Party, Harris is imploding because she cannot get out and actually speak to the American people. So everybody's just saying, well, if she can't speak, then we're just going to believe what she said in the past, which were very progressive standings and statements. And that's why a lot of people are just dumping her as a candidate.
Trump is more moderate than Kamala Harris. Harris is seen as too progressive. Another great point. Trump is more popular than he ever was in 16 and in 20. And in a change election, Trump is seen as the candidate who will bring change. And this country wants radical change. We're going in the wrong direction. The economy's in a bad place. And Harris is seen as someone directly tied to the status quo and to Joe Biden. Kamala had this strategy that she was just going to take 3 weeks off and not define herself and just be vague, mysterious Kamala. That backfired. Trump
100%.
filled the vacuum. Other people filled it. Her team couldn't fill it. And now everybody's either like, who is this woman? Or, no, she's a California socialist.
What do you think, Jessica?
I think a lot of things about what Jesse said, but I do like that we're now so in sync that you can preempt me because outlier was definitely going to come out of my mouth, but I got more to back it up. Anyway, I didn't see the 99% likelihood forecast.
I'll show it to you in the break.
No, I'm not doubting it. I'm just saying there was also a 99% chance that Hillary was going to win and Donald Trump did. So throwing it out there. Great.
How'd that go?
Ooh, Big Dog DFW with the super chat. Hey, everybody, show some love to Big Dog. He said she needs to go back to McDonald's. Well, hey, Big Dog, remember they don't even know she even worked because McDonald's will not even say she worked there. That's when you know that they're ashamed. Either she worked there or she didn't even work there. Needs to go back to McDonald's. That way she doesn't have to think much or a door greeter at Walmart. Well, not Walmart. Our door greeters are smarter. Hey, you can't argue with facts. Guys, I'm telling you, what you're about to see, this next part, this is crazy. So, when it comes to the debate, Kamala Harris, I don't know if you've heard this anywhere else, she requested for the open mics. Why? Because she wanted to be able to do this to Donald Trump and make him look like a bully.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth.
See, she wanted to be able to do that. That's why she didn't want the muted mics. She can't do that anymore. She also requested for a stool. So she's only 5'3". Donald Trump is 6'4". And because of the height difference and she looks so smaller, they requested a stool. And then the Trump team were like, ABC was like, no, she's not getting a stool to step on. You're going to stand just like he is, and this is going to be a real debate. I'm telling you, the stuff that is coming out of this whole debate thing is hilarious, but we're here to tell you the truth. Oh, sorry, guys.
And well, they basically sat back.
It's a shame. I mean, the truth is that I thought it was longer. I mean, even if you, I mean, I don't really see the debate, the interview with the coach as a real interview. I mean, but so for me, it's like 7 weeks allowing herself to not be out there and answer questions and allowing other people to define her.
100%.
That's a negative. That means that everything is going to depend on tomorrow night. So she is allowed all this time to pass, either because she's weak, she's not smart, or she has to memorize her lines because she doesn't know about the policy, or she doesn't agree with the policy, or she doesn't remember what she said last time about the policy, that she's afraid to go out, and that's why she's got to memorize her lines. But that period of time she has lost, and shame on her. She needs to worry because she didn't do that. And that's why when you've got 28% of the people who say she doesn't know what she stands for, or we don't know what she stands for, and you tie that into the 5% who are truly undecided, that makes for a very fluid race. We've got a lot of people who don't really know what's going on, but Trump's support is very resilient.
Yes.
And her support among the Latinos and young people is not as strong as the traditional Democrat support. That's why she's not as strong as other Democrats have been, and that's why you're going to see a different number coming out of the race ultimately. But I think that Trump's lead, he's seen as more centrist candidate. Why? I think that it's because maybe it's RFK, maybe it's Tulsi Gabbard, maybe it's because 4 years later we say to ourselves, you know what, he wasn't as crazy as the media tried to take him out to be. And I think there's another really important point, and I have it here, and I'm trying to figure out what it was. The change candidate.
Yes.
The fact that 44% think she's a progressive tells me that she hasn't said anything in the last 3.5 years.
Nope.
It tells me that she's so tied to Biden that she can't get away from him. And that's going to hurt her.
Let me tell you this, and a lot of people don't know this. I don't know why it's crazy how the media just took her and made her like this glorious savior to the Democratic Party. But let me tell you this. She had a 28% approval rating as vice president. The lowest out of any vice president that has ever been vice president with this polling. The lowest. Remember how Judge Janine just said change agent? When you look at CNN, who's literally coming out and saying, well, that's what Trump is, Kamala's going to lose. That's like everybody's just saying, you know what? Forget it. She ain't got it. She's not an Obama. She's not a Biden, and she's not a Hillary. Check this out.
And I would just advise him to answer all questions going back to one core issue. If you want change, I am the change. If you want change on the economy, I am the change. If you want change on the border, I am the change. And she's out here changing. The only change she is changing all of her positions in a craven effort to try to make you think she's not some kind of radical liberal. So I wouldn't take the bait from a question. I wouldn't take the bait from her. I would just bring it all back to one core issue. This is how he wins. People are not happy with the current administration. She is in the current administration. She represents a continuation of the same. So anything that you do that gets off that track is really a lost minute or a lost 10 minutes or however long it takes you to do it. So my advice is stick with change and you'll be all right. She does. She's going to have a lot of explaining to do. And that's really what Trump has to do as part of his strategy. Try to let her unwind all of her past positions that she ran on before and let her unwind on all the things she helped Joe Biden do, which, of course, caused the American people to sour on this administration. Look, it's a change election. And so if you're Trump and you're looking at some of the recent polling, like in the New York Times, you're already seen as the change agent. The goal of this debate is for people to turn off the TV and say, yep, I want change, and Trump represents that change that I need on the economy, on immigration, or whatever your most important issue is. Those will be the top two that he should be focused on. So it's really staying focused on that core mission. She's more of the same, I'm change, and however he gets from A to B, that's the strategy he needs to go for.
100%. He's the change candidate. He's going to bring change back to what he was doing before. And for the people that are asking in the chat, the debate is going to start at 8 p.m. Central Time. We are going to try to stream it if they allow us. If they don't allow us, we will stream all the reactions thereafter. So we will be streaming tomorrow. Probably not going to be as early as we normally do it, but we will stream the reactions after in the debate if they allow us to, and YouTube doesn't take down our videos. But there's something else that's crazy happened. The DOJ, the Department of Justice, is finally going after illegal voters, illegal immigrants that are voting, and you will not believe the crazy number that they actually have. One person that the Department of Justice has caught illegally voting who's a legal immigrant. This is such a joke of a story that they're reporting it, but what they're trying to do is take their eyes off of Harris and put it on this instead of focusing on her. Check it out. Oh.
Department of Justice is now charging an illegal immigrant from Guatemala with stealing a citizen's identity and using it to vote in multiple elections. All right, so this is the nightmare that people warn about when you don't have an ID that can be verified at the ballot box.
Right there.
This is all coming just days after a Democratic senator denied any evidence of undocumented immigrants voting in our elections. Or in this case, I don't sweeten it like that. They're illegal border crossers. Rich Edson is live at the White House with more. Rich.
Good afternoon, Harris. The Department of Justice now says she's going to plead guilty to all the charges. This comes out of the Northern District of Alabama. The U.S. Attorney's Office there in a statement saying that Angelica Maria Francisco assumed the identity of a United States citizen in or around 2011. Francisco used the false identity to obtain a U.S. passport in 2011. Using the same false identity, she also registered to vote in Alabama in 2016 and voted in the 2016 and 2020 primary and general elections. Former President Trump appointed the prosecutor who leads this office. She does serve under the Biden DOJ. Now, Republicans have been pushing voter ID laws. Democrats argue cases like this are isolated. They say state audits and analysis have shown a very small number of non-citizens are registered and even fewer vote.
This is a solution looking for a problem. I mean, there is no evidence that undocumented migrants vote.
How can you have evidence, or how can you say there's no evidence when you don't even check for proof of citizenship? That is the dumbest statement coming from this senator who, if to the normal person, if you don't think like, well, wait, how can you, if you don't check whether they're illegal or not, then how do you know that they're not voting? What is the evidence? That's why we have to require evidence. We have to require the proof of ID whenever you go to vote to say, this is who I am a United States citizen.
Hard enough to get citizens to vote. And it's, just creating...
Did you hear that? He said it's hard enough to get citizens to vote. Well, we had 150 plus million vote in the last election. I don't think that's very hard.
A new system and requirements that there doesn't seem to be any necessity.
House Republicans are scheduling a vote this week on a bill that would require Americans to produce a birth certificate or passport to register to vote.
Yes.
It is a major problem. We do need a solution, considering that the last election was decided by about 80,000 votes out of well over 100 million cast. There's nothing more sacrosanct in a republic than to make sure you have secure, honest, transparent, and open elections.
Now, as for that stolen ID case, you've got the Department of Justice saying the State Department investigated it because she applied allegedly to renew her passport in 2022 and traveled to Guatemala on it in that year. Harris?
She was busy. All right. Rich, thank you. I want to go to you first, Molly. You have some strong thoughts about this. And my big question was, well, how do we fight this?
Well, it's just really interesting what Senator Kelly was saying. He's from Arizona. And Arizona is one of the states that actually separates out voting for people who can prove citizenship and people who can't. They would love to prevent illegal immigrants or non-citizens from voting, and they've had a lot of trouble with doing that. But in 2020, 11,600 people voted a federal-only ballot, because in Arizona, if you don't have proof of citizenship, you can get a federal ballot. So Mark Kelly says it's not happening. He should know more about the laws in his own states and the trouble that election officials are having with preventing non-citizen voting. The other thing that's interesting is the Republicans in Congress have a simple bill called the SAVE Act, which would limit voting only to citizens. And it seems like one of these issues where you could have almost no disagreement. Well, only 5 Democrats voted for it in the House, and everyone in the Democrat...
Hey, Daryl Gerard, thank you so much for supporting the channel with becoming a new member. Everybody show Daryl some love in the chat.
Party has been fighting this tooth and nail. President Biden said he would veto the bill to limit voting to citizens only. This is an issue because even just a few...
Did you just hear that? The President of the United States, the person who's supposed to essentially uphold the law more than anybody else, just said he would veto a bill that only allows and requires U.S. citizens to vote. cover up.
1,000 votes here or there can make a huge difference.
Well, we had Representative Chip Roy on, who helped sponsor the SAVE Act last hour, and he was making the point that, as you say, Democrats did cross the aisle. Not many of them, but some did. So clearly, maybe they're in border states too. Clearly, this could be a bipartisan issue. They're going to have to figure out how to hit that sweet spot with it. Because I can't imagine, Emily, that there's any advantage to having illegals vote in our elections.
I mean, unless you are one party that makes a big assumption for it. I will say this, that the defense of not passing the law, which is that this is an isolated incident, is not logical, and that does not provide any type of defense for not passing a law, right? Just because a crime is massively egregious and therefore rare does not mean you shouldn't pass a law preventing it. In fact, you would think it would make it all the more reason why you pass it, because it would serve as a deterrence for the small amount of people then that might want to break it. Now, we know in reality it's not a small amount of people, it's frankly in the thousands, but what is a small amount of people is the amount that could sway this election.
100%.
So election integrity, to sum up, is a very crucial and important issue all the time to our republic and also right now to this election. And so everyone should prioritize it and let your reps know you support the SAVE Act and we need laws on the book.
Hey, Sandra Mario Renzi, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate y'all so much and your support. Everybody, show Sandra some love in the chat. Let's go. Hey, Joseph Evans just joined the True Life News team. Guys, we appreciate y'all so much. And gals, we appreciate y'all so much. Y'all show some love to them in the chat.
Preventing this type of, illegal identity stealing that actually does happen all the time.
We've seen others run with this as a candidate, though. Mayor Adams here in New York City. I mean, I don't know what he sees now that he has an out-of-control billion-dollar problem with illegals on our streets here in New York. I don't live here, but I work here.
$5 billion, by the way. And to the point about the voter integrity, I'll get off this show, go back to D.C., where I'm likely this week going to be covering a big fight in Congress as Congress comes back, because Republicans are looking at possibly attaching a provision to a short-term funding bill that will have a provision to require proof of citizenship in the election. And, Molly mentioned that only 5 Dems voted for the SAVE Act. How in the world is voter integrity not a bipartisan issue with overwhelming? Well, here's how we answer the question. Sometimes a picture tells 1,000 words.
Yes.
Let me show you a picture of someone I took at the border in Eagle Pass, covering the border last year. You can see people coming across. That was down in Mexico, when I was down in the southern part of Mexico.
Hey, James Watery, thank you so much for the super chat. Y'all going crazy tonight. Thank y'all so much for the support. Everybody show James some love in the chat. Guys, you see this? Biden Harris. There is actually Democratic groups that are at the border handing these shirts out to everybody and taking the pictures and using this as propaganda in trying to get them citizenship, promising them citizenship if they vote for Biden Harris. This is corrupt. This is not right. These are illegal immigrants that are supposedly coming in just straight through the gates, and nobody's being held accountable.
There's another one of a Biden-Harris t-shirt just 6, 7 months, 8 months ago when I was down there with Biden-Harris 2020 coming across, and you're seeing what's coming across, and so Democrats perhaps see an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Trump should call for a picture of that at the debate tomorrow night. Who paid for those T-shirts?
He should. I doubt ABC will let him, but yes, he should. Look, I mean, it's crazy to me because you just heard a Democrat saying, oh, there's no proof of this. Okay, but wait, Glenn Youngkin removed 6,000 non-citizens from the voter rolls in Virginia.
Yes.
Greg Abbott removed 6,500 non-citizens from Texas. And guess what? 1,930 of them had voter records in Texas. We just played proof of a DOJ prosecution from the Biden administration of a woman who voted twice illegally. So for all the talk about Russia influencing votes, Russia's not changing vote totals.
No.
Illegal immigrants voting are changing vote totals. So care about Russia, yes, but care about non-citizens too, changing vote totals.
Yeah.
This is the part where I'm serious. I get so irritated that people deny this, and it's literally happening. And think about it, these are the people that we catch. Imagine the amount of people that we don't catch. Because I'm telling you what, with this debate coming, this is going to change everything. This is going to set the record straight. I don't even know if Harris is going to show up. She may get sick. She may bow out, because if it's the same rules and Trump does the same thing, Harris doesn't have a chance. Check it out.
All right, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy joins us now. And, sir, it's good to have you back on the show. The Washington Post says Kamala Harris is a centrist populist. That's their take on this on the new Harris agenda. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know who wrote that for the Washington Post, but whoever it is, they shouldn't be driving. If you pay attention to what Vice President Harris has said, this is basically what her campaign promise is. I'm going to solve all of the problems that President Biden and I created in the first place.
Ooh.
And with respect, I don't believe her. Because I've served with her for 7.5 years. I know her record. For example, on immigration, the vice president believes in open borders. I mean, she's already said that she wants to make illegal immigration no longer a crime. Now, how's that is going to help? This is the same vice president that compared our Border Patrol officers and agents to members of the Ku Klux Klan. I can tell you what she's going to do to secure the border. Zero, zilch, nothing, nada, because I know her.
Bernie Sanders says she's just saying what she has to say to win. He actually admitted that in an interview over the weekend, that basically she hasn't abandoned any of her beliefs.
And Bernie Sanders and her are cool. They're tight. And for him to come out and say that, oh, she's just saying, she hasn't changed her progressive values. She's still the same progressive. She's just saying what she needs to say to win. If that's not messed up, and if that's not hypocritical and spitting in the face of every American, I don't know what is.
And this is what she has to do to win an election. That's an amazing admission. I think he's exactly right.
Well, he is. Look at her plan to reduce prices. This is her plan to reduce the inflation and the high prices that she and President Biden created. She wants price control. She wants to raise the top income tax bracket. She wants to increase capital gains taxes. She wants to tax unrealized capital gains. She wants a wealth tax. She wants to raise corporate income taxes. She says, of course, that she'll only do it on the so-called wealthy.
Nope.
But
that's a good point. So Joseph Evans, thank you so much for the super chat. You asked the question, what do you think? Will Trump eliminate the payroll tax? I think that he's gonna try, because again, too, remember, he's gonna test out. He's already said he's gonna put massive tariffs on the countries that are basically, just abusing the United States in terms of like our goods and services and whatnot that we buy from them. I think he's gonna try. It would be very difficult for him. He would have to have a House that is red, and he would have to have a Senate that's red. But if he has both of those, he will, I believe 100% he'll eliminate the payroll tax, and I would be very, very happy about that.
How that works. Now, how is that going to do anything but increase prices? Because then she's going to take all that extra money that she takes from the American people and spend it, which is going to stimulate demand, which is going to increase prices.
Right.
Unless you were playing Frisbee in the quad during Econ 101, you know that's basic economics.
And most of us understand, too, that, I mean, it sounds so satisfying to go after the rich and the wealthy because they do have so much, and they've got all these yachts. And even though they have a lot of money, it seems like they're in a machine this big, in an economy this big, you don't really get anywhere unless you start taxing the middle of this country.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the real revenue is. You got to start hitting people that make a couple $100,000 a year as a household. That's when you get into big piles of money that they can go out
because there's more
and actually,
people.
That's just the truth. You can take all the billionaire wealth, they'd burn it up in about a month in Washington.
100%.
Political reporting.
Because remember, they've already calculated it, that if Biden and Harris do the whole tax the rich crap, they're only going to get $50 billion a year. Do y'all realize that we've already sent hundreds of billions overseas to Ukraine and whatnot? So it doesn't make that big of a difference. Now, if they tax the middle class or the upper middle class, now you're talking towards the hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. That's where they want to get to, and they do it in a sneaky way by saying, oh, we'll tax the rich, but then it actually hits the middle class.
I want to talk about the debate before I let you go. That Kamala seems to be really affected by this, the fact that she's not going to have these open mics during this debate. Apparently, they really wanted to have those mics open. They wanted Trump to get frustrated, and she also wanted the ability to interject as well. This is not good for her.
Well, I don't know what her plan is. I mean, I know what I would do if I were in her shoes. I would look the American people in the eye, and in front of God and country, just tell the American people what I believe and what I'm going to do. What am I going to do to get prices down? What am I going to do to secure the border? What am I going to do to reduce crime? What am I going to do to make America stronger again in terms of our enemies? But she's not going to do that because she has a record, and she is what she is. She's a San Francisco Democrat. As I've said, she's AOC without the bartending experience. She ought to be just level with the American people.
That's well said. Senator Kennedy, always good to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is the thing, too. Thank you, Deanna Graham, so much for joining the True Life News community. We are going to do some good in this world and bring positive change with the money from your support, and we're going to make a difference. So I'm telling you this, the more and more, again, she's super nervous. Everybody on the Democratic side is nervous because tomorrow, either Kamala's going to actually have a foothold or the election is over. I'm telling you, tomorrow is going to be the deciding factor on the rest of this election, because they're either going to try to put Donald Trump in jail, they're going to try to do something if she does bad. Watch it. I'm telling you that everything up until this point has told us that she can't handle it. And honestly, too, there's nothing that she's done in her past that would make her the commander-in-chief of the United States to fight against people like Putin, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un, all that. Check it out. Oh, sorry, guys.
It's the last night of debate camp for Kamala, and the camp counselors are leaking.
I'm picking up quite a lot of nervousness, by the way, on the state of the race. I don't know what you're hearing, Anthony, but I'm getting Democrats kind of texting me. I had a long call yesterday with a strategist, and I can fill you in on that a bit more. But
did you just hear that? This is one of Kamala's handlers, and they're all talking about being nervous for Kamala Harris.
I'm hearing quite a lot of nervousness from some Democrats.
Debate camp must not be going well, because now they're setting expectations really low.
She's never been in a presidential debate before. She's been in a vice presidential debate, but never a presidential debate. So I do think she is going to probably be a little bit more nervous. I think she has more riding on it.
Whatever happened to Mrs. Say It to My Face? She's been at debate camp for a week, rehearsing zingers and watching old game tape.
She has closely studied the former president's past 6 debate performances. She's also been sort of entrenched in these briefing papers going over the former president's past comments, as well as the ways that he has insulted her, so she can be prepared to respond to that. She's engaged in these mock debates with a stand-in for the former president, and she's had conversations with Hillary Clinton and President Biden, who both extensively have knowledge of debating the former president.
Kamala is so nervous, she's watched all of Trump's debates, memorized his insults, and is now calling Hillary for help. But the ghost of Joe Biden still haunts her.
That is
Behind
nuts.
the scenes, Harris says she feels handcuffed by the debate rules that Biden set. They wanted to create a moment when Trump interrupted her, but now they're rewriting their playbook.
Yep.
They've even turned her hotel room into a movie set with TV lighting and method actors. A Hillary loyalist is not just playing Donald Trump, but inhabiting him, wearing a boxy suit and a long tie. Kamala's even practiced.
Did you hear that? They not only recreated what the debate stage is going to look like, they put a prop up that is a boxy with the red tie, because I'm telling you, it's crazy. When you get into the debate stage, I've done this before. Imagine being the president. It doesn't matter how much you prepare. When you get on there, your nerves just go crazy.
The handshake if there even is one. Insiders say don't expect substance out of Kamala tomorrow night. Her plan is to tap dance around the Biden record, embrace the good stuff, and distance herself from the bad.
Hey, Big Dog, thank you so much for the super chat. You are too kind. Everybody show Big Dog some love in the chat. He is that man. That's an American right there, out of Texas too. Big Dog says, John Kennedy is awesome, true gangster. Love that man. Let's keep supporting the Truth Channel. As the Trump would say, drill, baby, drill. True social, grow, baby, grow. Let's go. Big Dog, appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for your support.
She's walking into a trap, so she's going to ignore policy and instead focus on honing in on how to needle Trump and rattle him. They're workshopping poll-tested attack lines that their media allies will make go viral, where Harris could turn to the camera and say, for those who can't hear it, Donald Trump is trying to yell over me. How many of you have been in a meeting where you get talked over?
Do you see this? This is what they're trying to plan. It's all a big, with the ABC News, it's all a big scheme. Listen to this. They've also got a set piece ready to go where Harris could turn to the camera and say, for those who can't hear it, Donald Trump is trying to yell over me. How many of you have been in a meeting where you get talked over? This is all a plan to get Donald Trump because they wanted to have muted mics. Didn't want to have muted mics, but they have them. Guys, tomorrow's debate is going to be insane. And we're going to cover it right here.
Her entire strategy is dependent on Trump losing his cool. But Trump only loses his cool when you call him a bad golfer or a bad businessman. He's been telling advisors, I'm not going to let her do to me what she did to Mike Pence. Kamala's a cold calculator and has landed some nasty shots in past debates. In 2003, she ran against two men for DA, and after they played the Willie Brown card, she said, well, you got popped at a massage parlor and you're a deadbeat dad who doesn't pay child support. Boom, Harris became DA. We saw her grill Kavanaugh and Jeff Sessions, and we'll never forget what she did to Biden. Called him a racist to his face. But she's also had...
Did y'all know that? She literally said that on the debate stage. She goes crazy and tries to get them one-liners.
Blow-ups. Tulsi Gabbard annihilated her, and Lester Holt, whether he meant to or not, left her stammering and cackling. Democrats are worrying Trump's going to make Harris look small.
It will take almost superhuman focus and discipline to deal with Donald Trump in a debate. It's no ordinary proposition. Not because Donald Trump is a master of explaining policy ideas and how they're going to make people better off. It's because he's a master of taking any form or format that is on television and turning it into a show that is all about him.
Trump's playing the expectation game, too. No boxes or artificial lifts will be allowed to stand on during my...
Remember, I told you they wanted that her team, Harris's team, requested a step stool so that she could be taller and more in line in the cameras with Donald Trump.
Coming debate with comrade Kamala Harris. We had this out previously with former NYC Mayor Michael Bloomberg when he was in a debate, and he was not allowed a lift. It would be a form of cheating. And the Democrats cheat enough. You are who you are, it was determined.
Yeah.
Over the weekend at a rally in Wisconsin, Trump previewing what he'll be zeroing in on. Listen.
We're run by stupid people. Stupid, stupid people. And we found that out at the debate with Joe. How did that work out? And we're going to find it out again on Tuesday night. Is anybody going to be watching?
Wow.
You know, she's a threat to democracy. They always say, Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. I'm not a threat. I'm the opposite. I'm keeping democracy what they are. She's a defunder of police.
Since Kamala came out of nowhere, the American people believe she's a progressive, or they don't really know much about her at all. Look for Trump tomorrow night to define Kamala on his terms. She's defunded or supported defunding the police, bailing out rioters, reparations, abolishing ICE, decriminalizing illegal aliens, and drug possession. And just breaking. Kamala Harris, according to CNN, supports taxpayer-funded sex change operations for illegal aliens.
Are
Juan
you kidding
can become
me?
Juanita, and you pay for it. The former president will force her to explain, if you didn't change your values, why'd you change all your positions? Bernie Sanders gave Trump a hand. Watch.
She has previously supported Medicare for all. Now she does not. She's previously supported a ban on fracking. Now she does not. These, Senator, are ideas that you have campaigned on. Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
Wow.
So Bernie admits Kamala's a progressive. She's just lying to get elected. With friends like Bernie, I don't know. Even CNN says Kamala's position is that she doesn't want to have a position because if she admitted what her real position was, she'd lose.
Right. Their problem was that you didn't necessarily, they felt, hold her down on some of her more nebulous policy positions. What would you say to that?
I think you just said, I tried.
Right.
I mean, you can't force somebody to answer a question. And I asked to follow up. I tried to get more into the nitty-gritty and get the answer. And sometimes, I mean, my experience in doing interviews is that once you ask once, fine, twice, fine, 3 times, if you don't get it as a clear answer, that's kind of your answer.
Trump shouldn't call Kamala's change of positions flip-flops. He should just call them lies. She's a secretive lady, dependent on her handlers to survive. And the same people who ran Biden will run her. But this time, it'll be even more liberal. She's a California socialist, out of step with the rest of the country. And if Trump keeps her on defense, he wins. Mark Thiessen writes that Kamala hasn't been able to answer the most simple and obvious question. If you were elected, what would you do on day one? How can someone run for president of the United States and not have a ready answer to that question? She had nothing to offer but a cringe-inducing word salad. A moment like that on the debate stage with tens of millions watching could be fatal. The risk for Trump is getting in the mud or appearing angry. Peggy Noonan writes that Trump needs to present himself as calm, reasonable, laid back, even friendly.
Very much.
He should walk across the stage, give America a break, and shake his opponent's hand. He should let the game come to him.
Yes.
If Donald Trump runs on the return of the American dream and ties Kamala to Biden, he'll walk right back into the White House. His advisors are urging him to come out tomorrow as happy Trump, not bully Trump. But like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan
till you get punched,
till you get punched in the face.
100%. Let me tell you this. This is insane. The breaking news that we have given y'all tonight has been insane. If you just joined on, rewind back, go watch the beginning, because right now the Congress has said that they are going after Biden and Harris. If they don't show up at their meetings now, it's been 2 years, they're going to hold them in contempt. And if they don't follow the deal with the contempt, they can go to jail. Biden and Harris. That's who they're going after for the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. This is huge. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it means the world to us. Everybody that has blessed us tonight. I want to go through this because I don't know about y'all, but you know, I grew up with nothing. We didn't have anything. And what I've learned in life is that when you serve people, you bust your butt and you serve people, then people take care of you. And that's what I feel like y'all are doing for True Life News, for me and my family. And I just want to thank everybody that's watching, all the new members. We've got Deborah Holsty, we've got Daryl Gerard, we have Joseph Evans, we have Deanna Graham, we have Denise V. Thank you so much for supporting. Remember, the links are in the description. It's only 99 cents per month. And what that is going to do, we have a goal to get to 10,000 members. We want to take that money and then go and do some good in this world and bring positive change. Help out kids. We want to help those homeless. We want to help veterans. We want to do some great things with this money. And this could be where you join us with a small donation each month to be a part of it. And you're always going to see this face, and we're going to videotape it so that you can see where you're helping out. Also, want to thank everybody that supports us through the super chats and donations. It's such a blessing to us. Linda at Jump, thank you so much. Big Dog DFW, my boy from Dallas. Hey, you got to let me know, Big Dog, are you a Houston? Do you like the Houston Texans, or are you a Dallas Cowboys fan? We've got Sandra Mario Renzi, James Watery, Joseph Evans, who have blessed us with these super chats. We are so thankful, and we just want to continue to serve you every single day. Remember, we are going to be hosting the debate if they let us, and if they don't, we will be showing you the entire live stream thereafter for all the reactions for what happens after the debate. We love you. We thank you for all the support. We are here to serve you, and we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.